Hey guys, it's Mega881000 again. With this video you will get a few more details about the process of the entire complaint I had go through with the D3 Studio Stingmon statue. As you already know from the previous videos about D3 Studio Stingmon, the statue arrived quite damaged as my very first order from the Chinese for UGK shop, as well as my very first statue from the D3 Design Studio. And because of the great service that the shop offered me in regard to solve the complaint and to bring you a little closer to this good service and the shop itself, I wanted to make an extra video about it, also in regard to how they handle things etc. Maybe it's also very interesting for you to get knowledge, information about this. If you're saying, hey, I would also like to order an unofficial figure of my favorite character, just don't really dare to do it if something goes wrong, arrives broken, etc. or damaged. With this video I would like to take this fear away from you a bit more, and with that I will starting right away. First, I cutted the original unboxing video to just under 5 minutes and used it as a proving clip, uploaded it to my channel as not listed, linked it and sent it with a few more pictures and explanations with my first contact to the 4 UGK shops, given email address for complaints etc. I also explained for better understanding that this proving clip was originally intended to be the planned unboxing video for my YouTube channel, because I'm doing reviews with unboxings etc. in my channel. You know that? Yes, that's what I'm doing. The reply emails from the 4 UGK shop were in my mails the next day, which I found very positive at first. However, in the first email they only wrote that they were very sorry for what happened, but also wrote that they have no control over things that happening during the shipping time. And so I thought, that's it now? Was that all? And had actually low expectations while opening the second email. In it, my contact person surprisingly apologized in more detail for the inconvenience and for the harsh, meaningless content of the first email. They were very sorry for that it happened and they meant it honest. They also seen the proving clip and said that the wings looked fine, but wanted me to confirm in detail again which parts are actually got damaged, and wrote me that I can ask the design studio if they could send for these damaged parts replacement parts. In other words, it was actually the complete figure without the wing part and the bonus figure, if they still have or could produce any new parts. Yeah, that was up to the studio. I wrote back, yeah, do this, and that it sounds very good that you're working closely with the studios together to solve such problems the easy way. And as I said, the figure was already sold out at the shop, so the shop couldn't send a replacement for the damaged one themselves. Yeah, maybe they would done this, I don't know. My contact person of the shop then replied that they contacted the studio and now have to wait for the studio's reply, which then took few days more, and The whole thing was, by the way, before and during Christmas time 2021. My contact person also asked me that I shouldn't publish the actual unboxing video in my channel until everything has been clarified or would be clarified. And in case I saying anything bad about the shop, it could hurt their business extremely bad. They were actually very afraid that I would badmouth the shop in the video because the figure arrived damaged, etc. Because I mentioned that with my YouTube channel, and this fear was real, because my contact person actually even repeated this request very often in further emails. And that with my rather very small range. Yeah, but that probably pulled a little to stir up a certain fear among the shop owners. Yeah, it felt like that. Of course, I promised her that and wrote if everything will go well, there would be no reason to badmouth the shop, the service in any way in further videos, and that I will do quite the opposite, and I would only start badmouthing and spread it then if the complaint would develop negatively in the end. If the whole thing turns out positively, then I would rather praise the shop for this and spread only the good words about it. Yeah, and this I promised her, and that I wouldn't publish the unboxing video in the near future anyway, because you know, I have a bunch of videos in storage. Yeah, and I won't upload it until everything isn't clarified. And also wrote her that during the actual unboxing video I didn't even talk so badly about the shop, and rather that I will do an update somehow. Yeah, you know, because I rather was confused about when I discovered the damage, and yeah, I don't knew at this point how to go on. So I said something. A few days later, we are back in the back to the complaint history. A few days later, she wrote me again. The studio replied that they could send the replacement parts. They just had to produce them firstly, and that would take some time. I complimented their service, which sounded absolutely promising, and was excited about how things will develop further. I also gave them the tips to pack protected better for the second time, because if they just attach the head to the body, the result will be the same again. It will get loose from the body again, because the magnet, which is actually, yeah, provided for the connection, is too weak, and everything will break off again. She thanked me for so much understanding, all the tips, etc., and assured me that she would tell everything to the studio members. Yeah, it was positive that my other messages got still answered the next day. Still they answered very quick, despite the fact we already were within Christmas holidays 2021 in Germany now. After a bit of waiting time, she wrote me that they had now received the replacement parts from the studio, but I checked them and seen that they got those parts already damaged again from the studio. So she wanted to contact the studio again and commissioned them to produce new ones, and wrote I should be patient again and wait. I was really curious to see if all of this was true and what the final result will be in the end, or if they were lying to me like crazy. Yeah, you couldn't know that. So I had to wait again, like I said, after some time again, and suddenly the package arrived though she wrote me the day before that the shop doesn't receive the second replacement parts from the studio yet, and therefore couldn't have sent them yet. But how the hell I could have received the package already then? That was strange. I also wrote her this too, and she said she forgot to tell me because she wasn't at work the day they sent it out. Nevertheless, seen from the very short period of time that just lay in between, it couldn't fit at all. It couldn't have I couldn't have received it if the parcel had not even been sent out from the Chinese shop a few days earlier before. Yeah, that's a logical thing, and from the logical point of view, they simply sent me the first damaged replacement parts they got from the studio, which would match quite well from the time period in between. And I didn't ever get a second spare parts or a third copy. Yeah. Which she had requested from the studio again. I think since the second copy arrived at the shop damaged again, she contacted the studio to produce new ones, but the studio already said no at this point. She only wrote me that the studio wants to produce new ones again, which can basically seen as a lie, because the shop already knew that the studio would not produce and send the shop any second spare parts again. Well, that's what I'm thinking about that. And it was certainly the case. The proof for this is just the short time period which laying in between. That just doesn't fit. And so I just received the first and only produced spare parts because, you know, the spare parts were broken again a bit. Yeah. Without knowing this beforehand for sure, I wrote to my contact person that they should ask the studio to send them a new third copy, this time complete, also with the wing part again. Or, yeah, this time with the wing part. Because the studio failed again. Because they had packed it badly again despite my tips, that it got damaged again, and the studio apparently pretty much ignored my tips. My contact person from the shop then wrote that the studio answered this request with a no. So I wrote to my contact person that I'm very disappointed with this similar result again, despite our immense efforts. Yeah, and she said I should try to glue the damaged parts, also gave me tips, and wrote that she tries to handle something more out with her boss, and in the end I got the $30 discount from the shop, at least as a small compensation afterwards, which is nice. I also ask her if she can turn this discount into a discount off code for the next purchases, and she also made that possible, which I found more than positive again. So at least the efforts and the great service from the For You GK shop team are to be highly praised. Yes, I think even if they didn't tell me that they sent me the damaged spare parts, but as I said, I think that's how things were, because due to the new damage, the shop already asked the studio to make and send new replacement parts, which the studio denied beforehand. Now the shop was in a quandary with the pressure in the back that I could hurting their business with my channel, and before they were left empty-handed at last, they sent me the damaged spare parts for free, at least on chance that they could satisfy me with this yeah, the little white lie that got uncovered through this wasn't this nice to me, but at least they were sorry and that it turned out bad again like this. And when the shop hadn't cared at all about the new damages, then they wouldn't have offered me the $30 discount off at their cost and would have said, bad luck for you. But yeah, that's it. So I wouldn't take this discount for granted as well, especially if the shop hadn't given a damn about, like I said. It wasn't either their fault that the replacement parts came damaged from the studio again, or that the studio refused a third try, nor that the studio did like nothing despite the tips to protect it better. So I can't say anything bad about the shop itself. And their service and the handling and the final result of the complaint I see actually as really very, very positive, and the efforts are to be highly praised, like I said. And as I said, in the update part of the unboxing, they tried their very best to turn the whole thing to something positive and satisfying for me, and I am very grateful for them for doing so. I have heard other things about such shops. Maybe my YouTube channel created a little more pressure, and they were therefore particularly afraid that I would unleash a shitstorm down on them if they only dealt with the problem half-heartedly. Yeah, so I can't judge to what extent this had an impact, and so, as I said, I can't say anything negative about the shop members, their service in my case. But in comparison and in contrary, I can still share with you a negative experience I had once with the Japanese Nippon Yasan shop. Because this fits in here so well. Because compared to the Nippon Yasan shop service I did experience back then, because for receiving Mega House Precious GM Angel Woman Holy Arrow version with the broken wings, with that I only tried to do a complaint and ended up getting nothing from them, because the Angel Woman would have had to go back to the manufacturer, for which I would have had to pay all the costs myself for sending it back to Japan. That was written somewhere on their site, and in the end, after everything had been roughly clarified, the service employee only gave me their Japanese address to send it back to them. For following further questions about how to proceed this, because there was no return slip etc, and questions who pays everything, my contact person simply not replied on that. I tried that again by drawing another complaint ticket, where I came across another contact person from the Nippon Yasan shop, who again said the same things to me, and at the end only gave me this address again and again, didn't answer any of my further questions. So the result was exactly the same like it was with the first complaint ticket. That's why I rejected this complaint completely, because, yeah, you know, without further informations on how to proceed, without a return slip and even a guarantee, or without a guarantee, in the end of getting anything replaced, then and still having to bear all the cost for the return myself, yeah, it was really too unsure to me. And that's why the result of the complaint at the For You JK shop and the experience with the unofficial Stingmon statue was much better than, in contrary, this miserable complaint try with Precious GM Angel Woman with the Nippon Yasan shop. I really wanted to mention that here for comparison reasons. I would have really expected more from the Japanese shop back then, but that's probably one of the many reasons why you can't find a Nippon Yason shop or why it doesn't exist anymore. And with that, I would also be through with this video about the exact process of this complaint that was the truthful representation of things that happened to me with the first order from For You GK, which I wanted to share with you in more detail now. Again, also to praise the great service of the For You GK shop members and to spread the good word about. And yeah, in the end, rather positive experience with them. Just visit the For You GK shop. I linked it in the video's description down below. Yeah, I can imagine that also this video was probably less interesting for you, though in case you liked it at least a bit, or the informations about the complaint, I would appreciate a thumbs up for it. And of course, you can also subscribe to my channel in general. Yeah. And to get it more interesting at the end, I have a last compare to the Stingmon figure, now with the evolved form. You know, I showed you for compare the Choshinga Tamashi series Tentomon. Now we have him standing here as the evolved form as Atlo Kabuterimon to see how they are looking together. This was my last reel to show you. Yeah. Otherwise, like I said, I'm through with this video. Take care, guys. And until the next video, your Mega 88 1000.